One of the really great things about Hedron and its modular nature is that we can do some really cool things beyond the basic slider. And one of the big things that a lot of you are going to be doing is time-lapse, stop motion, and motion control. In other words, visual effects shots. What's really cool about Hedron is, of course, we've fully integrated motion control into the unit. So if you buy the basic slider and down the line you say, look, I got to get into time-lapse, that's cool. You can buy the time-lapse kit. And that same time-lapse kit is the same kit that I'm using right here for real-time motion. So I can speed this up, for example. And if I just want to get, call it the perfect slider shot and, and have the computer control my shot, we could easily talk about that for a couple hours here. But what I'm going to do is walk through really briefly what current options there are. First of all, if you're wanting to do compound 3-axis shots, then this head, the Omni head, will basically get you both motion control, either time-lapse or real-time, pan and tilt. And that is going to enable you to get some crazy compound shots. The system can also take a lens drive, and you'll see in the car clip time-lapse, we're moving the camera and we're actually racking focus over 20 minutes with the same technology, the same bits that you see here. So if you're just looking to do real-time control, then you can use the Trito, basically, which is a 3-axis. So it'll give you pan, tilt, and say slide real time. So if, for example, you're taking that head and you're putting it on our axis jib and you want a piece to just be able to control these intricate camera moves, this gives you real time. So it doesn't program time-lapse at all. It's just designed to move everything with a joystick and speed and dampening controls across the board. So for each axis, you can set the speed of that axis and the dampening, how quickly it speeds up and how quickly it slows down. So that's real-time control. If you're doing complex shots, maybe involving focus racks, translational movement across the slider, plus pan and tilt, then pretty hard to beat the evolution system. So we have a box like this. All of your axis E's plug in. By the way, the system's all just Cat6 neck cable, so pretty straightforward. You can plug in up to 6 axes. So using the evolution, which has its own little Wi-Fi network associated with it, and you can use an Android tablet like this one, and you'll see that I have 3 axes more or less programmed at this point, and I can add 6. So I can keyframe and basically set up very complex 6-axis shots, which would be, again, this would be the way to do it, but you could also do it with the Omni controller that we have here. But the evolution is definitely a kind of cool way. So program it on the screen, press go, turn your screen off, and as long as this is powered and connected to everything, it's going to control the movement either over 10 seconds or over a year. And that is the flexibility of the system. The BD controller, which is a real-time controller, which doesn't have an LCD screen, but gives you basic control of the slider and includes the ability to move this for time-lapse. So that's going to be the most cost-effective option. Most people are going to end up with the Omni controller, which I have right here. And what's kind of cool is in the kit, we've included one of our Cinevate accessory mounts. So you can see I'm not having to hold it. We've actually come up with a solution that covers cable management and also keeping the controller with the system, because it does need to stay with the system. It's really integrated into everything we do. Mounting, cable management, we kind of have thought of everything. So with this particular system, we take the motion control motor, and there's just one that takes care of time-lapse, stop and go time-lapse. So basically move the camera a tiny bit, stop, allow a longer shutter, and then keep moving, and also constant motion, real time, like I'm doing right now. So in this case, I just want a great slider shot. I go into free ride mode, and I just control it with a joystick. I can set up my dampening, let go, and have it come to a nice stop. So same thing going the other direction. You notice it's going to speed up, and I have the ability to set the speed. You can see I can slow it down or speed it up on the fly. I can speed it back up. I'll set up dampening and just let it go. And I kind of have that perfect slider shot ending. Attaching the motion control is actually super simple. Integrated into the Hedron slider, even the base slider, is the ability to mount our idler pulleys, and the unit itself is pretty much 2 bolts. So basically the legs, the micro adjustable legs, are completely functional with the motion control or any of the other kits installed. So basic slider, very quickly with 2 bolts, you're adding on motion control, time lapse, stop motion. So completely modular and extraordinarily compatible with all the different modes. And that's what's taken us a year to figure out how to make sure everything works. So you want the shot, and you don't have to sit there and re-rig the system for an hour to do it. So there's our basic intro to motion control, and we're going to show you some cool stuff in the horizontal and vertical axes. One of the challenges that you're going to experience if you're trying to do vertical time lapse, which you don't see a ton of, it's something we've really thought about with Hedron, and you can see we've made it possible with our counterbalance system, and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment, to use a motor, the same motor that we use for horizontal loads, we're using for vertical loads. So I'm going to go ahead and engage that, and let's take the camera down, and you'll see the weights come into play here. And the whole point of doing all this is go vertical, add some weight, and now you don't have to have a very powerful motor to handle this. It's much like an elevator. And what the weights do is basically take a lot of the load. You're not lifting the camera. So there you have it. There's the vertical mode of Hedron.